That's an expectation I have. But you know what's missing? Is we don't have an agreement. So it's an agreement versus an expectation. And where people fail with other people is because they're living lives of expectations. You want to not be disappointed? What's the agreement? And so that's what it always says. It's like, well, hey, they're not performing. And the question always is, well, what's the agreement? They're like, what do you mean? What's the agreement? Like, how are you measuring success? And anything that is measured is a number. So, trash can example. The metric, is it above the trash can line, or is it below? If it's below, maybe we haven't met the measurement yet. But if it's above, that's our measurement. Take the trash out if it's above it. And I laugh, just because it's just funny to tell, but everybody gets that. And you get into a disagreement with your significant other. Are you upset? What are you upset over? Did you have an agreement, or was it just an expectation? Hey, we need to, hey, we're supposed to be there at 6 o'clock. It's 5:55. It's a 20-minute drive. How come you're not ready? You should have been ready. We need to be there by 6. Was that an expectation, or did we have an agreement that we needed to leave? And so everything that can be traced back with another human always needs to be traced back. Well, what was the agreement? Yeah. And if you don't have an agreement, then that's on you.
Right.
And then it's like, cool. All right, we need to establish an agreement.
That's how on me, because I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more, like when you take a problem and you deconstruct it and you get those actionable items, how does that help somebody? How does that help people solve their problems better than just taking like a broad view of those? Yeah,
that's a great question. And let's take, just, we were talking about this 101 mile race, and I got a lot of this obviously listening to David Goggins and listening to people that have gone through the mental battle of what it takes. And
you're now a peer.
A peer
of David Goggins. I should have put that in the damn intro.
There you go. And I listened to him, one of the things that he said, and he was talking about where the SEALs fail during Hell Week is that they focus on the finish line. And they're focused on, the end of the day, right? They start, everything's great. And then, hour 1 is just a bunch of, calisthenic stuff. And then hour 2, now they're in the water and they're starting to like, okay, this is becoming real. But now their mind goes to the end, right? And he said, if you allow your mind to go to the end and not stay in the moment, that's where you'll fail. Yeah. And he's like, you have to stay in the moment. And so like what we did a really good job of this time, and I say we because you can't do anything great by yourself. No. It's just impossible. There's anybody that ever accomplishes anything and all you hear is I, that's ego. There's always we, always. And so the game plan that we kind of laid out, and this was, really laid out with Coach, was that we broke the race apart and that we were going to run 10-mile races. And we knew every 10-mile race was going to be different. We knew my body was going to be different. We knew the time of the day was going to be different. We knew everything was going to be different. So we looked at, hey, okay, we're going to break apart 10-mile races. And then within each 10 miles, you got 10, each of the 10 races, you got 10 miles. So we knew every mile was going to be different. And then we knew, okay, well, race 1, we can attack it this way. Race 2, we can attack it this way. Attack. And we even broke it down into the quarter of mile. So how even in like the race 1 from mile 0 to mile 10, we knew, okay, hey, let's get a good run from 0.15 to, and then we'll walk from 0.15 to 0.1. And then we'll do that again. And then all of a sudden that'll add up. We'll be at a mile. We'll be at 2 miles, and we'll be at 10. And then we'll do it a little different in the second race. We'll do it a little different in the third race, and we can just so on and so forth. And so how does that apply to my business? Well, you look at it and say, hey, this is what I want to accomplish this year. This is my goal. Okay, well, great. So we have that. Then let's break it apart. What do we need to do this quarter? Okay, great. Then what do we need to do this month? Mm-hmm. then what do we need to do this week? And then what do we need to do today? And the biggest thing to break it down into is, what is it that's within my control that I can do today that's going to move me closer to where I want to be 12 months from now? Mm-hmm. And only thing I'm focused on is today. Did I get my win today? and this goes, right in line with, capturing wins every day. And one of my, it's definitely my number one book recommendation for everybody is The Gap in the Game by Dan Sullivan. And it is the number one book because so many people fall and live in the gap. And really what the concept that Dan talks about is that he talks about that we always look at where we should be, right? We have this grand vision of the person we want to become, and then we're always disappointed that we're not as far along in the process as we are.
Yeah.
And he said, you will always live in the gap if you live that life of always comparison. And social media has become a real issue with it. And I would recommend getting the Audible, because the co-author Ben, and kind of goes through and reads the chapter, and then Dan comes in. So they do kind of like Goggins' book, where it's kind of podcast scenario, which is becoming kind of the go-to for a lot of the Audible books.
That was awesome about their Audible. Yeah, I like that.
It's really, really cool. And so he talks about it. He hits chapter 1 and he hits it right out of the gate. And he talks about, the suicide issue, the increase that we've seen here in the US and globally. And he hits it right in with the concept of the gap in the gain. And he said, too many young people, too many people are living in the gap, and they're comparing their lives to others, and why are they not where they should be, and so that leads down to just this dark spiral and leads into some real issues.
Definitely. I'm experiencing that now. Keep going. Sorry.
And so what he's talking about is how we stay in the game is that we always measure our progress. We're always looking at how far we've come. And our good friend Ryan Stewman, mm-hmm. We had Ryan at one of our masterminds back in 2017. We were in I think we were in Jackson Hole at Mastermind, and we had Ryan, and he was typical Ryan, on fire.
Yeah.
And he shared kind of his morning rituals, and I've been religious with this ever since. And it's his gratitude practice, but it's also how he ends the day. And the gratitude practice is the first thing, when you finally grab your phone, first thing in the morning you do is you go in and you write down immediately the 5 things you're most grateful for. And the struggle ends when gratitude begins. And then the end of the day is capturing and acknowledging your wins. And I promise you, everybody listening to this, all of you guys in here, you are winning every damn day. But you're just not taking the time to acknowledge and appreciate those wins. So on my phone, I'm an alarm, junkie.
Yeah,
so I got alarms for everything. But on my phone, I've got at 9:45 every night, I've got it set, and it says wins.
Yeah.
And it goes off. And what I do is I use notes. Ryan used to, he said he used Evernote. I don't know what he uses now. Evernote became too sluggish, too slow. So I just move over to notes. And I have a note that says gratitude and wins 2022. And, I woke up this morning and I wrote down the things that I'm the most grateful for. And at 9:45 tonight, I'll go in and write all of the wins that I had for the day. I woke up in my house this morning. I woke up with being able to see my kids.
Feet were still there.
My feet were still on.
Still attached to the ankles.
I haven't. The toenails haven't fallen off yet.
Right.
No, I had great coaching calls today. I had a great session, on Expert Mentors Live. I'm here with you guys. That's a win. And you have to acknowledge those things, because we all have tough days. Mm-hmm. And when we have those tough days, the best thing to go look at I just go right in here and look at my wins, and I can just scroll up and I go, damn, I'm winning every damn day.
Yeah.
And you guys are as well. But you just have to take the time to acknowledge it.
Right.
And that's what allows you to stay in the gain and not fall into the gap.
Yeah.
And so it's my number one book recommendation. And I tell people, you know, if you need to go through it probably every 6 months, and then you can get into that cadence maybe once a year, but you need to go and you need to listen to that book because it's so powerful. Because as humans, and typically it comes into our circle, right? That environment pushes on us. And so, you know, as you're continuing to navigate the waters and doing anything worth doing is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard as shit, right? And you know, it's like when we were talking before we went live. I mean, that was the third attempt to get 100 miles.
Yeah.
And you know, it ain't easy.
No.
And so,
but that's the biggest rewards. It don't come easy.
They don't come easy. And you know, building a business that reaches and impacts, you know, as many lives as possible, that ain't easy. Mm-hmm. It's hard, right? And you're talking about the statistic, you know, 80+% out within the first 5 years. I mean, and that statistic is even for small businesses in general.
Right. Yeah, you can apply that to a lot of industries.
A lot of industries. So it's still even you know relative there. And I think too, man, it's just people try to ego it and think that, you know, they're gonna, it's like a badge of honor, like, oh, I did it myself. Mm-hmm. And I got through it. And it's like, no, like that's not the way. The way is
no
together.
Shame in that. Yeah.